Welcome into a fresh new hour of CBS Sports HQ. Happy Friday. I'm Jordan Giorgio. We begin with all of the activities in Indianapolis resuming at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine. The excitement is growing as we enter day 2 of on-field workouts. Yesterday, we saw many standout performances, and the bar is set high as there's more to come. And our own CBS Sports HQ crew has been live out at the Combine all week long to bring you the best sights and sounds as you take a look at beautiful Indianapolis. There's Lucas Oil Stadium, the site of the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine. Here is the best from some of the NFL's top draft prospects. Take a listen.
Who has better endurance?
Me, for sure.
Better ball security?
Me.
Better trash talker?
Everybody know the answer to that.
And the last one is, who will be drafted higher?
We're both going to be drafted higher, but, I think myself, even though he's a good quarterback, but we either going to be 1A, we really 1A, 1B, 1B, 1A. So I think us two, we deserve to be drafted as high as we're going to go.
But you're definitely funnier.
Yes, sir, for sure. You know that, too.
Who do you think goes higher? Who gets drafted higher?
Depends on preference. Do they like old school principles, which is yours truly, or do they like new school?
You get in the open field, it feels like it's a wrap.
Nah. I mean, I don't get caught from behind. I used to have this coach in high school, Coach Ernest, and so he was actually in Memphis for a little bit. But he was saying, if you ever get caught from behind, in the game, you're not getting back on the bus.
So you took that to heart.
I took that to heart. Yeah.
Competition is thriving in Indy, and day 2 schedule of on-field drills and workouts at the Combine is set to begin. Yesterday, we saw some solid performances from the defensive line and linebacker position. So today, lives will be changed for the defensive backs and tight ends in this year's draft. For more from the Combine and what to expect today, let's go ahead and send it out to our crew in Indy.
All right, we're still at the Combine.
We are.
Ryan Wilson, Douzable, Mike Renner. Today was a glorious day if you love quarterbacks, and I think we all do. And we talked to some obviously great players, but some great personalities.
Yeah.
I'll start at the top, the first guy that showed up early.
Real early.
He's early first job interview, Jaxson Dart. I think, Mike, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Lige and I are a little higher on Jaxson Dart than you are. Any takeaways from your conversation with him today is that's not only a football player, but certainly his ability to communicate what he wants to get accomplished?
I mean, I have him as a borderline top 50 player. I think he's a good quarterback. I think a lot of these guys are good quarterbacks. There's just questions about if they're great quarterbacks, but you could tell from his attitude that he wanted to prove that, kind of the stigma around Ole Miss QBs, he wanted to prove that he's NFL ready. Like he came here being like, I know my stuff. Draft me, like the sort of, again, the stigma around Ole Miss and that offense and simplistic and whatever. Is he ready for the big time? Seems like he wants to prove that he can start next year, and we'll see it on the field.
He was a huge Star Wars guy for me, so that put him over the top.
Oh, that's going to put him over the top for me because I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I didn't, I came in, I think, like 3 minutes left in the interview when you guys were interviewing him. But, he's a guy that's been rising up my boards as well. I thought he had a really good Senior Bowl. A lot of people were wondering, with that Ole Miss offense and kind of being a spread offense, could he, live in the pro-style offense? Now, did have a few fumble snaps, and that's expected for guys that haven't really taken snaps under center in college. But I thought he progressively got better as the week went on. I think the biggest thing for Jaxson Dart is he's got to go to a place that's really going to develop in regards to his progression, because it needs to speed up a lot quicker, and then anticipation throws, right? That's where he needs to grow as well. You're not going to find a tougher quarterback in this draft class. I mean, there was hits on there. That Georgia game, the first 3 plays of the game, I didn't think he was coming back in that game.
Right.
And he helped lead them to a comeback win in that game as well. So he's one of those guys, we say in the locker room, he's a foxhole guy. I'd go to war with him any day. So there's just a couple developmental things, and I think he has a chance to be a really good guy, really good quarterback.
To your point, his teammates that I spoke with on both sides of the ball said he's the best leader they've ever been around, and that translates when he has these interviews. 2 guys who won the interview competition today in the quarterback room, and if I didn't even know whether they could play football or not, those are guys I'd hire in my business. Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel. Let's start with Will Howard because he sat right next to you, and he did a great job selling us on Will Howard.
He did, man. I became I was already a fan of Will Howard, and I thought he really grew throughout the season as well after transferring from Kansas State. And we kind of know the pressure that is put upon you when you go to the Ohio State University. I mean, there was a quarterback that was there last year that left and went somewhere else, and people were saying it was because of the pressure. But Will Howard,
disrespectful, but go ahead.
And I love Kyle McCord. I'm just saying that's what people are saying. I love how Will Howard literally kind of put his handprint on that offense, especially in the college football playoffs, that run, right? Because that Michigan tape was a struggle for him, right? And it was a struggle not just for him, for a lot of the players on the Ohio State team. But the way the resiliency, and what I saw from him is what I really like, because it's all about how you respond to adversity. And I think he showed something during that college football playoff run. And you talked about him today, man. Very bright, self-aware. You brought up a good point about how, our friend Rick Spielman, kept it straight with him.
Yep.
And he took it and ran with it, right? Rick told him where he thought he could potentially go in the draft. And, he thanked Rick for telling him that. But then he also went out there and put the work in. So you can see the leadership skills that he brought on this interview. And another thing, Ryan, that I was surprised, and I told you, he's a lot bigger than I thought he was.
He's huge.
He's a huge dude.
Yeah.
He's a really big dude.
So, Mike, two things before we get to your Kyle McCord in this draft, Dylan Gabriel. Top 60 for Will Howard?
It's just too crowded. I don't think so. Because I think there's just a logjam of guys who are in that mix.
Sure.
And then again, there's only a handful of teams that will be drafting quarterback top 60. So I think it's difficult to leapfrog them over guys like Kyle McCord, guys like Tyler Shuck that probably are going to come off the board before he does.
So let's talk about Dylan Gabriel. Mike was a huge fan coming into this week. I fell in love immediately. I got Jade Barron vibes when I was talking to Dylan Gabriel. He is a
That's high praise.
Great communicator. And, Mike, tell us the story of what Dylan said about the fact that if teams don't like 5'10 quarterbacks.
He said, I'm not for everyone, is basically what he said. He said, then those evaluators are teams I don't want to work with. If I want top down, them to be supportive of me, and I love his answer. He came in, he is unapologetically himself. He said that, it took him a while to get up to speed in that scheme, but it didn't take him a while to get up to speed in that locker room.
Right.
Guys fell in love with him immediately. It's easy to see why. He just is a guy that he even took some shots at some quarterbacks throughout college football, saying, I came in with my van because what would it look like if I came in a Lambo, right? I wanted to set the tone that I am here for you guys to have this experience and not the other way around, not for myself.
My follow-up to that was, I said, no one's stealing a white minivan, so you're safe there too.
You got to chill, right?
So let's talk about Cam versus Sheduer.
Yeah.
Sheduer spoke to our social media team. We had Cam Ward on here.
Yep.
Cam Ward does not lack confidence.
Not at all. I think that's the thing I really love about him. He commands the room. When you talk about a guy that's going to have to be a leader of men at the quarterback position, he epitomizes that. This is a true alpha. A really cool story about Cam Ward, and a lot of people don't know. In high school, he ran the wing tee.
Yeah.
So they didn't throw the ball that much. Yeah. So when he went to Cotton Ward, it was literally him developing into being a quarterback. Then he went to Washington State. Then he went to Miami. And each place he went to, that program got better. It's not a coincidence. It's because Cam Ward was there. So he's a true alpha's alpha. He's going to be the leader in the room. Arrogant arm talent. Some people will say that's to his detriment at times, but I love a guy that has that mindset that I can make any throw on the field. Right now, there are some question marks about his ball security, and I know you guys asked him about that a little bit as well, but there's no guy that I would want as quarterback one more than Cam Ward if I'm a team.
And I love the developmental path he took. Yeah. And he kind of went through it. It's just he at every level aced the test, right? Yep. Maybe didn't start off elite, but then by the end, the guy was elite at that level of football. And when you talk to him, when he sits down next to you, there's really nothing about him that shows any doubt that that's going to be the case at the next level. He is going to ace that test as well, it seems like.
Well, Mike, he's been all our QB1s for a while, I believe. Has that gap widened? And by that, I mean, has Sheduer gone further south for you, just based on our experiences here today? Or how do you feel about that situation?
Just talking to Cam, I feel even more confident about my evaluation on him. So I had the gap pretty wide, to be honest. Just because, again, we're talking about franchise quarterback, and just the tools he brings to the table is just a different caliber from pretty much anyone else in this draft class. So that's why sitting down next to him, talking to him, it's that tracks with what I saw on tape.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no way he shouldn't be number one overall.
Yeah.
Again, we know in this league, you cannot win games without having a franchise quarterback. And right now, the Tennessee Titans do not have that. So, yes, I love Abdul Carter. Yes, I love Travis Hunter. But if you don't have a guy under center, you have no chance. And Cam Ward can be that guy.
Oh, 100%. Two things before we get out of here. I told Mike this because you and I had an opportunity to talk to Tez Johnson, the wide receiver out of Oregon. One of the most amazing things I've heard this week is that before Bo Nix hurt his ankles, Tez never beat Bo Nix in a race.
I did not expect that.
And he was not surprised. And probably Mike wasn't, but everyone else was surprised by Bo Nix's athleticism.
Mike was on the Bo Nix train from day one. Right. So
Mike and Tez.
About those Oregon quarterbacks? I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
There it is.
And the other thing, we talked to Ashton Genty, and I asked him about the standing up in the backfield thing. He's got a ton of questions about that.
Yeah.
And he said, just let me be me, and you can see the results. The other thing I was surprised by, Mike, no team, and I was the jerk that did it, asked him about his height. Like, no one cares about his height. Are you at all concerned about him being 5'6"?
It's a running back.
That's what we were talking to Ashton. I actually told him, I was like, that actually might help you when you talk about contact balance and then leverage as well, getting up under people and then bouncing off of them. So, like, he was like, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I'm like, it's true. Like, the thing that makes Derrick Henry kind of a one-off is that when he can get to the second level and just leave people, right? But if you stop him before he gets going, that's where a lot of people say he can be had. But with Ashton Genty, even if you get him in the backfield, most likely he's going to bounce off of you and make a couple guys miss.
Yeah, everyone remembers the highlight of MJD versus Sean Merriman. Merriman had him about 50 pounds, but MJD had
leverage is a real thing now.
All right, for Mike Renner, Douzable, Ryan Wilson, that's it from us here in Indianapolis for the time being. Remember, check out With the First Pick wherever you get your podcasts. We're doing it twice and almost 3 times a week as we get closer to the draft.
All right. I love it. Ryan Wilson with the self-promo. Scan that QR code on your screen and watch and listen wherever you get your podcast.